All right.
Yay!
Great job, everybody. Yeah, I mean, right now, if we were in a live theater, there'd be raucous applause and laughter. But right now, yay, we can just yay from our own personal computers. Thank you all for sticking around for the Q&As. We're going to jump right into it. And as we are talking, if questions come up to you, please do pop them right over there in the comments. And while you all think of some questions, I want to introduce some new faces that you'll see there over on the side. You'll see our director, Helen Leung, there. I want to give everyone a wave, Helen. And our general manager, Alex Wu. Hey, Alex. So yeah, I guess first question while we wait for some more to come in. Helen, I'm going to go to you as our fearless leader. So obviously knowing that the rehearsal process as well, just so you all know, was also over Zoom and virtual, just to keep everyone as safe as possible, of course. And we were operating out of various different time zones. But knowing that the rehearsal process and the eventual production was going to be over Zoom, Helen, did that change anything about how you prepared as a director?
Well, I think the most important thing was I was handed a really great setup by David and Wai. The first scene is over Zoom, and the second scene is in front of a camera for a video vlog. So knowing that, I think the first thing I tried to eliminate was stage direction. So a lot of times when you have readings, there's a lot of stage direction. So it was looking at what the problems may be to eliminate the stage direction. And the most challenging one was the buzzer. And through a lot of talking and collaboration, great collaboration, we figured out how to do that. And so it became more fun in thinking about how this might be like a sitcom or a television show. So those would be some of the thoughts that would be definitely different from doing a play that's in a house with people. So.
Awesome. Thank you. And we have a question actually from on this same track, Helen. So I'm going to come to you again from Sarah Johnson. Sarah Johnson says there are so many amazing sort of Zoom theater magic moments, and props again to our stage manager, Miranda, and our assistant director, Simran, for helping facilitate and design a lot of that. So Helen, sort of as you think about this play live, and maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I'll put these two questions together. So do you hope to stage this live one day on stage? And yeah, talk a little bit about how you would envision it. Yeah, go for it.
Wow, on the spot. Yes, I absolutely want to see this live one day. I mean, back to what David was saying. I mean, having this kind of a love story and this much fun, I've never seen it before. So I definitely want to see this live. As far as envisioning, I was thinking about, since this first two scenes was so perfect for the Zoom or the video medium online, that would be the challenge, how to make that real, other than having it be kind of like on the screen. And then the actual production itself, I think the difference would be they could see each other. They could feel the energy from each other, the chemistry, and the audience could feel that chemistry, which is a little bit more challenging on a flat screen. So I don't have any brilliant thoughts, I'm sorry. But other than why live theater is different from watching something on the screen and why we miss it.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot, but we don't want to give too many spoilers anyway. We want people to buy tickets in the future when we were able to do this live. Right. Yeah, great questions, everybody. I'm going to come to, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but Kaita Harris wants to know a little bit more about horny scopes. So Wai, I might toss this one to you. Wai also co-wrote the play and starred as Wai. Go for it.
I didn't choose the name Horniscope. David chose the name Horniscope. But I think we were just trying to find a fun YouTube channel that will kind of feed the needs of, the spiritual, side, which is the horoscope, right? And then we're thinking, what would be my brand, being a gay Asian tarot reader. So, and I'm always thirsty because I'm always single. So why not use the word horny in front of horoscope? So horoscope. And some of my tarot friends said that you need to trademark that because that can be a real channel because no one's claimed it yet. So maybe I will actually do that.
Thank you, Wai. Sky Ranger Nick wants to know, are you going to leave this episode up? I have tarot people that will love this. Also, Sky Ranger Nick someone told me it's your birthday tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think it was you. Told us.
Hey!
Happy early birthday, and thank you for being here. We can leave the episode up for 4 days, so come on back, and then we can host a little clip of it on our website, tokentheater.net/support, in perpetuity. So yeah, check it out, and thank you for coming. Since I have the floor, I actually have a question. Telly, I might come to you. Telly is our non-Chicago artist here, and I, as David was talking before the reading, I started thinking more about sort of just the idea of representation, and I don't even know that we've used that word in the intro or anything. It's baked into our mission and our value statements and things, but that I think encapsulates a lot of why I think Token is important. And I would love to hear from you, Telly, especially in the New York scene, have you seen sort of representation in general improve over the past 5-10 years, or is it sort of a lot of, or not, I guess I'll say?
I do. I mean, it's absolutely, I think it's absolutely improved. Is there equity? Not yet, I don't think, of course, and I think that's a larger conversation about where we are as a country too. And I also think that this is sort of the year that we are sort of digging into those questions in a real way and having those conversations at home while we're all isolated with our families and while we're all watching the news all every night. I think those actual conversations are happening, and I hope that when the theater is back, that the conversations we've had this really challenging year about racial and social justice actually affect our genre as well. So yes, certainly it's gotten better. The theater scene and representation has certainly gotten better. And of course, we met, as David mentioned, with Hamilton, of course. In the same season, I was in a musical called Allegiance, which is about the Japanese American internment. We were the same season, and it was directed by, we had a lot of Asian people on the creative team. So not only was it a predominantly Asian cast on stage, but we had a lot of people that were, off stage as well. I often hear about that, actually, is sort of where the representation is lacking, which is why I'm so happy to see Token exist. That you have Asian general managers, Asian directors, Asian publicists. Oftentimes I talk to my friends they say I'm the only person of color in a production meeting when tech is over, and that phenomenon happens a lot. Whether it's the one token, if you will, designer that is Asian that is at the production meeting late at night, and so I think the real change is going to happen when there's that balance. Certainly, there's been more representation on stage, and that's normally what I do. But I want to see Asian people direct. I want to see Asian people produce. I want to see Asian people cast. I want to see Asian people own theaters. That's sort of that's the next step.
Amazing. Thank you, Telly.
Yeah.
We got a great question from Silverius Materi. Was the script based on real events between Wai and David? So David Rhee, real life David, I'm going to toss that to you.
Not at all. But I would say this. I mean, so the whole story started with, like I said, all of us at a dinner table just talking. And I guess bits and pieces of our life did come into it. For example, we did talk about Crazy Rich Asians. And I said specifically, I was like, my God, dating apps are blowing up. Post Crazy Rich Asians, I'm a thing type of thing. And Wai was like, I'm not. I'm like, are you kidding? And our friend Cheryl Hamada, who was with us at dinner, said, stop, this is your play. So we decided, let's write this thing. And I went home and, and literally I was thinking about, I want to make this like a sitcom. I want to make it funny, whatever. And Wai would come over, we would like rehash things, and I would just retype it. We had the first 3 or 4 scenes, and it just wasn't going anywhere. It just felt like a sitcom, like that was about to be canceled, And then Wai kept on. And FYI, you guys, Wai has this brilliant YouTube that he does with tarot cards, and I am so like not in the tarot card world. And he kept on asking me to watch it, and when friends ask you to come theater, you're like yes, 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 and you hope it'll go away. It never went away. So as I was writing this, I finally was like, I need something else. And he sent me this link. It's like, hey, I'm doing my YouTube channel again with tarot cards. Will you please watch it? So finally I watched it. It was, just FYI, the YouTube stuff that you saw on this for the script was literally taken verbatim, some of the parts. yeah, because that is really who he is, yeah. And it was just, I was just like, oh my gosh, we're going to use tarot cards to tell the story, basically. So, there are bits and pieces, in terms of like our real life, like the Crazy Rich Asians discussion, like why with his YouTube channel, but ultimately most of it is fictionalized.
Thanks. I'm coming to you, David, with another question, but first, why? Do you want to plug your YouTube channel while we're here, since we're all,
My YouTube channel is On the Cusp Tarot. You can find it. Some of them, actually, Sylvia, who asked the question, actually is one of my subscribers. Yes. Hey, Sylvia.
Thank you, Wai. Thanks for indulging me. I have a question. So, David, I'm coming to you again with a question from Dolores Diaz. So what did you learn about the play or theater in general working in this medium, especially as the author of the play, sort of seeing the Zoom version of it, which I know maybe was not initially how you envisioned it? Did it open up anything new about the story for you, kind of with these constraints, or in theater in general?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, especially being at the first day of rehearsal and just seeing what was going on, part of our mission statement, we have, besides just being an integral part of the American theater discussion, we have these. If you guys go to our website, #plug, if you guys go to our website and look at our mission statement, we specifically have ways in which we want to deliver theater. Yeah. And one of the ways, I mean, our audience is, to be honest, our specific target audience are millennials. It's the people who are really in tune with technology. And part of our mission statement is to use technology as a storytelling means. And all of a sudden, it was really refreshing, actually, without having to force it. All our mission statements, if you look at our mission statement, all the things that sort of like were the addendum to our
the value statements,
yeah, were reinforced, and one of them is the use of technology, and it's like, even though we adjusted it for this specific platform, it was nice to see just how it works. But at the end of the day, I mean, like I've said this over and over again, it's the live theater that really does it for me. I mean, I love the fact that how we adjusted it. I love the fact that Telly and Wai were just so open to go with it. But at the end of the day, it's, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I see this on a stage. I see this as a live production. You know what I mean? I mean, like that sort of like that fire that Telly and Wai were bringing. I mean, there's something about Zoom. And there was actually a research that the New York Times did about this, about the lack of connection that this platform creates. Then, you could, even though you're giving something, it doesn't come through to the other people. You know what I mean? In a way that live theater does, and there's something lost here. And because of that, and it's the reason why I have no interest in film and TV personally. Yeah. So, like just that beginning scene, just that hurriedness of I need to leave, or when David comes back and it's just like, you did this on purpose. There's an energy that's there that just gets lost in a medium like this.
I guess if I can interject a little bit also, it's kind of like there is a Venn diagram of like what TV and film is like, and then what live theater is like, and right now we're right in between, and there's like this great opportunity right now of just like what does that entail, like what kind of art is being made there. And what's really nice about what's really nice about the pandemic right now is that we have this opportunity of just like being forced into this center of the Venn diagram. And I feel like this play, after watching it a couple times now, I'm just like, wow, this is the small evolution of what this middle part of the Venn diagram is going to become in the future for everybody who's watching this. And I guess like if you're thinking about like YouTube channels and everything like that, that's kind of where this lives also.
I will say that the play, I'm going to interject here too, that the play is about connection. And I will say that no matter how you choose to take this play, whether it is you further this virtual version out of necessity because we can't gather live yet, or you end up doing the play live at Token in a live theater space, which would be amazing. I do think no matter what you do, you are still going to do it in a time that is hopefully post-COVID. You know, like there was pre-COVID, there was life then, and then I do feel that the urgency for my character to connect, to find the one, is upped because we've all gone through this experience together of not being able to connect. So in some ways, all of us having gone through this experience together actually raises the stakes for my character anyway. I feel like for the rest of the play, because we've been so hungry for that connection for so long. And maybe that's analogous to how it's going to make audiences hungry for, you know, to run back to the theater when this is all over, you know?
It's so funny that you say that, Telly, because when Wai and I were trying to create stakes for David and Wai, as soon as we put that pandemic thing in, it just organically raised the stakes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, thanks everybody. There's a question here from NW. I'm interested to hear what you're trying to do with the performance of stereotypes. Telly, I'm going to come to you with this one first. And so, for example, right, what I observe when I look at the script is that Wai and David are both gay Asian males, and yet, so they feed into some of those stereotypes, and yet in some ways they don't. So Telly, if you want to speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, I think for a long time, gay Asian men, and I know Wai and I have talked about this when we've been talking about the play, we've sort of been viewed, even within the gay community, as being either not masculine or asexual, or like I said, like my line says, that we are squealing pig bottoms, you know, and sort of hyper feminine. And, you know, as we are as diverse within our community as all other communities, you know, you're going to have super mask Asian guys, you're going to have super femme Asian guys, you're going to have people that are non-binary, that don't even want to deal with gender or sexuality in that way. They might be pansexual, they might be transsexual. So like, I just think that what I love in this play is that you do get two very different people. That, you know, for some audience members that don't know a lot of Asian people, they're just going to see two Asian guys. And yet, you know, I think what we're doing is sort of carving out who these people specifically are, you know, besides the melanin in our skin. Do you mean? And besides the fact that we're Gaysians, you know, like I think was in the way that Asian people, like David was saying, get all lumped together. I feel like sometimes Gaysian people get all lumped together as well.
Can I just make a really quick comment on that? Because I find it interesting with, like, for example, with white plays, we don't really ask this question about, you know, what stereotype are we trying to, to destroy or to bring into the, you know, because Wai and I, when we started the story, it was really just to tell a story about two Asians falling in love, period. You know, and I find it, there was, you know, recently a friend of mine, commented that, hey, someone wants to make an article and talk about how this play will be breaking stereotypes. And I was a little, you know, I was like, why is it that every minority play is about breaking stereotypes? You know what I mean? It's really a story about two Asians falling in love. And I get it. Organically, if it happens, that's one thing. But that really was not the intent with Wai and myself. It was really, let's tell a sweet story about two people falling in love. And if there are this idea of stereotypes that are being broken, to me, that's in the mind of the viewer, but it was never the intent of Wai or myself.
Yeah, and I just want to add, that's why I think stories like this are very powerful. They're just people writing their story. And yes, from the viewer's perspective, it's not a typical story that you see. And I think that's where the power is when you start connecting with a story of two people falling in love and they happen to be Asian and gay. Okay, so be it. And I think that's where you get to cross boundaries and you break stereotypes when you just tell the story.
If there's any stereotype that we're breaking, it's that Asians fall in love too.
Yeah. Speaking of falling in love, David, I just have to ask, when will we see ZAC EFRON show up in the play? Or the better question is, I've gotten this question from some people about the title, so I want to just kind of, why ZAC EFRON?
He's watching right now, so it's fine. Like he's there. We can
honestly, ZAC EFRON does show up. So when there is a full-blown production, we'll see you then. He does show up in the play. and I won't give you too much, except he does show up. But the reason why we ultimately did it was because as the story, and it did not start initially in this way. When we were writing this, it was, again, just the story of Wai and David. And then all of a sudden, it became this ideal of one of the characters needing to, when they are falling in love, who they fall in love with. And David's ideal is this ZAC EFRON character. And ultimately, what that shows when ZAC EFRON is sort of the idol that the Gaysian community sort of chases after, it's a question of why does ZAC EFRON have to be the sort of the paradigm that we're after? And what does that say about us? Because we're not ZAC EFRON. We don't look a thing like ZAC EFRON. What is the self-hate involved in order to go through that process to say, you are the idol, but someone that looks like me is not, you know? And it could have been anyone. It could have been Channing Tatum. It could have been just, you know, name some sort of popular movie idol right now. It just happened that I had seen something, a show where they had mentioned ZAC EFRON, so he was in the back of my head. So I put him there as sort of like a marker. And I thought we were gonna change the name, and I thought it was funny. So I sent the first draft to Wai and to Cheryl Hamada, and I called it ZAC EFRON as a joke, you know. And then I told Wai, like, we'll change the name later, and he goes, no, we're keeping the name. And it was, I mean, like, we did a reading of this at Dramatist, just the first scene of it, and the response that we got just because of the title, you know. Was just, it was inspiring, to be honest with you, the way the audiences responded to this. But ultimately, we chose ZAC EFRON because it was a revelation of what is the David character? Why does he hate himself so much when there's obviously someone right there who loves him and is willing to take care of him? And yet he's willing to go out into the pandemic, risk his life for this person, because there's this thing inside of him that he thinks isn't good enough, you know? And for some reason, ZAC EFRON represented that.
Thanks, David. Thank you all again so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for the super, super smart questions. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just search Token Theater. I also want to make sure we thank our amazing stage manager, Miranda, and our amazing assistant director, and intern, Simran. So if you all are over there, yes. Amazing manager. Yay! This literally would not have happened without either of them. And so thank you. Please, if you are so moved, you can donate and help support our future plans at tokentheater.net/support. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Take care, everyone.